Okay, let's move on to like the next thing here. Retrospectives. So, retros, I think, is the only thing you really truly need of this list. That if you don't have it, you're never going to succeed as a team or organization. Retrospectives, all this really means is looking inwards at ourselves. Looking in at ourselves. This could be like on a personal and or team level. Seeing like what is happening and coming up with experiments to try to improve everything. That's it. That's all a retrospective really is just like take a break. Where are we? Why are we here? And what's something we can try that's different? And, you know, what do we expect it or want it to change? Okay, so I've run lots of experiments with my team. Before this, I was a teacher at a code school. I ran lots of experiments on my students. I tried not to call them experiments to the students because they turns out that if you pay a lot of money to go to a school and you're told that you're having experiments run on you, you don't like that. Who knew, right? That you'd be you don't want to be a guinea pig for that. That being said, the only way to improve is to try something new. Now, you don't have to choose an experiment blindly. An experiment can be based upon metrics, on data. So data collection is really important here. I actually have that as something here, metrics, like knowing what is real and then saying like, well, I think that if I did this thing will change for the better. Okay, well, let's try it. Let's figure it out. Let's give it like 3 weeks. Let's give it 4 sprints. Let's, whatever. And then we'll collect the data from that, see, did it change? Key things about retrospectives, the team. The team needs agency to retro themselves and come up with the experiments to try. So this can be really rough for some teams because like sometimes the product owner will come in and say like, hey, you've been really slow. I want you to try this experiment to see if you're better. And the team lead should like nix that. Even if that's the experiment they want, the team lead should say, no, we're going to come up with the experiments. I know that like it might be one of those things where it's like, no, I refuse to do that. Okay, hey, let's try doing this thing that's like the exact same thing. It's who comes up with the experiments to try must be the team. Otherwise you don't have a team. You just have a bunch of people that you're treating like robots. And that is like the fastest way to disenfranchise people, to make them feel like crap, and to make them give up and like go find somewhere else to work. Not all experiments will succeed. Like, if they all did, you're doing something wrong, right? You're being safe. And safety will never, ever, ever succeed. Like, it's I've heard about this in investment. Like, I don't really do like, money investment and playing in the stock market and all that stuff. But I've heard that if you're just taking like the safe ones that are like, have no chance of like losing anything, then there's also no chance to gain anything. Lumicode, hello. So it's the same thing here. Gotta take experiments that have a chance of failure but then it might succeed. There's another big part about this though, is limit experiments. As a team lead, we're gonna see all the we see like problems, because like think of us as like the captain of this ship. And this is a metaphor that I actually really like. Imagine the organization is a fleet of ships. You can still gain something, just small gain. Low risk, low reward. Yes, okay, that is true. But you won't gain like the big changes that you need to get to like high performance. So imagine that we're like a fleet of ships. Each team essentially is, let's use triangles first. Each fleet is going to be a ship like this. And there's going to be different of these ships. What are you? You're S. So now I can't like go backwards with this or rotate it. Oh, that would have been perfect. What you want is all of these ships to be aligned together and moving in the same direction. But like we are, let's say, you know, we're this ship here. We're the captain as the lead of this team of this specific ship. So we see like, okay, you're here. You know, we want to move, you know, we can move around within this area. We interact with the ships. So we have to dock with them a little bit. Then we dock with them. Then we like move out here, we grow a little bit. You know, let's go off and like go do something else and we'll come back. Like there's many different ways to like have the metaphor work, but we are in control of our own destiny within the fleet, which is hopefully all moving together, which is a completely different topic of whether or not your company is in alignment. That's another issue that a lot of companies have. But since we're in control of the ship, we come up with a list of experiments, and we also see problems with the ship. We might feel like, oh, people are not engaged, so I can come up with an experiment to increase engagement. Our ticket sizes are really huge, so we can do an experiment for like breaking the tickets apart more. I also see that like we can we might want to like take more breaks and do more pairings. Let's come up with a ticket for like doing enforced breaks, and maybe like we'll pair four times a week. Let's also do an experiment with like keeping the cameras on when we do meetings remotely. Quickly, you come up with like a list of like a laundry list, grocery list of experiments that do not try to implement them all at once. Very bad idea. Like very, very, very bad idea. You're going to overwhelm your team, you're going to overwhelm yourself, and you're going to get absolutely no benefit whatsoever, because you won't even know which experiment caused like a benefit. You'll just have to keep on doing them all forever. So one experiment at a time. And try to keep your experiments to habits, like things that are like habits, because then you'll be able to add a new experiment in once the habit sets, which is really cool. It's pretty awesome when like that starts happening. So that's back to this. So limit experiments to one at a time. This also has the side benefit of making sure that we're choosing the most important experiment to begin with. You can keep a list of all the other experiments to run, but don't think that like the order that you come up with them is the order that you should do them in. By the time that first experiment is done and it's time for the next one, new problems will have arisen, and you'll probably have to just come up with a new list of experiments and just go from there. So try not to like pre-plan experiments too much. Just sort of like stay agile with this, because new problems occur randomly. But with retrospectives, you don't actually need to know literally anything else of what I'm saying. If you have a strong retrospective culture, you will eventually hit high performing, because you can't not, right? Like we moved too far to the left. I guess it'd be for you this. We moved too far to the left, and then we changed and we went back this way, and then we just slowly dial it in until we're exactly where we want to go. That's what retrospectives give you. This is an entire like field of study of like how to have good retrospectives. I'm not necessarily going to go into that. I'd be happy to talk about how I run my retrospectives and how I choose experiments, but like I'm not necessarily going to go into that right now. Also, I never really mentioned that if you have questions, either here live or if you're watching this on like YouTube and you have questions, please feel free to ask them. I'll be happy to like answer. This is like both me giving like a, I don't know, sort of like lecture style, but also I would love to make it interactive as well.